As far as I remember, I had some nice friends living in the same building. We stood in front of the house when the first bomb fell on our city, and we were saying to each other, and I don't know how I came out with it. It came through after I survived. If we ever survive, we will meet again. And we were young, and we were all split in all directions. The first 2 weeks in my hometown, which was in the lodge, or Lodge, the first orders of the day started coming out, like, for example, Jews and dogs are not allowed to go on streetcars. You might not have seen a streetcar in your lifetime, but streetcars are things like buses that are going on rails through the city, and they are electrically powered. So that was one thing. The other thing, Jews are not allowed to go into stores. The next thing I remember, my sister, who became the household chief because my mother died, was given the task of making stars of David to put on our clothes in front and the back, because that was the next order. I remember myself, and like I promised you, I will not tell you anything that I did not experience myself. I remember that we put on those stars of David because the orders were given, and we had to walk around with them. To be identified immediately as Jews. If I get a little confused, because my memory serves me well, but not perfect, so I might jump a little bit around. I remember my father packing up our few belongings after many, many years of living in the same apartment, packing up belongings, and being a blacksmith, a plumber, or whatever he was, a handyman. He made a big sled, because the order came that all Jews from the town of Lodge must, within a few days, I think it was the end of 1939, the beginning of 40, the winter, and all Jews must, within a couple of days, move into that section of town called Baluti. And I just to describe it for you, I would say like everyone from the town of Orlando must move into the northern part of Winter Park. And so, in order to make us move a little faster, they just ran up the street, went into one coffee shop, killed a few people, and then hanged about 7 people in the marketplace and forced everybody to go and see it. And I remember it naturally, I'll never forget. I saw those legs dangling, and because we had been forced to go and see it. And the signs attached to the bodies was, this what happens who doesn't obey orders of the Nazis. I have helped pack stuff or whatever. My father had a friend of his in that section of the town that allowed us to move into his storefront. It was, and now it started like one family. If we lived in 2 rooms before, now about 4 families moved into 1 room. And naturally it was congested. I don't remember the exact number of Jews living in that town. I believe it was like a town of 600,000 people then, and I don't know the percentage of the Jews there. Could have been as much as maybe 100,000 or maybe less. I don't really know. And so in that was immediately the ghetto is what they called it. Litzmannstadt was the name was changed to Litzmannstadt. And the ghetto was put up around the ghetto. They put barbed wires, and no dogs were allowed, no cats, no pets, and the congestion created a lot of diseases. And we were supposed to be rationing, getting deliveries of food, and the setup was that the Germans once asked who is the oldest man in that amongst the Jews in that town, and the guy by the name of Rumkowski, he was, according to his age, the oldest, and they nominated him the sole governor of this whole little ghetto. And he used to be a head of a kids' orphanage, and most marvelous, charitable person, and what circumstances do to people, he turned into a wild man, and he became a ruler. So the rations were coming in, and in return for the rations for food, we were supposed to produce war help, like fixing uniforms, and I don't know, a few factories they created in return for the food that they would send in. The food was minimum, and then starvation set in.